But now there seems a real strong possibility that he goes out on loan to Marseille to work with Roberto.
I think the main reason he doesn't track back, and a lot of the first team players are back now. He's looked at a squad player, and you know, whenever I do see him over the last few years when he bursts onto the scene, he has scored some unbelievable goals, some unreal goal. And as the 10, as a winger, he's so young. I think he has a huge amount of potential, and I don't think you can let that waste away sitting at the bench, not playing any competitive games in the Premier League or under Arsenal.
Right, it's Arsenal transfer talk time, and we're going to talk about Ethan Nwaneri in a second. But first, let's kick off with the big talk, the big news. Reports are exploding in multiple outlets that Arsenal have made Anthony Gordon their priority. Newcastle are reportedly ready to sell this summer or even sooner if the money is right. It sounds like Newcastle are holding out for 85 million for what I can only describe as a cross-country runner who has almost as many red cards as he does Premier League goals this season. Mark, I'm going to kick it over to you before I give you my thoughts. I have some strong opinions on this. Anthony Gordon to Newcastle, what do you think?
Bro, I am a massive fan of Anthony Gordon. I mean, before he moved to Newcastle... I'm going to back it up. Right. When his first full season, he was player of the season for Newcastle. He had 23 GA goal involvements. The following year, the 24-25 season, he's had 11 goals and 10 assists. This season, so far, we're halfway through the 25-26 season. He's got 9 goals and 4 assists already. So he's on track to have an over 20 GA. But if you break it down a little bit further, this season hasn't been the most decisive or the most clinical, should I say, because it looks like he's got 2 goals in the Premier League and 1 assist in 17 appearances. Those other goals, he's got 5 goals in the Champions League and 2 assists, and that's in 6 appearances. But the portion of his goals have come from the penalty spot, right? I see at the moment he's contracted to Newcastle until June 2030. He's currently on 150,000. It looks like there's no move going to be considered for this January from what I've seen, and any sort of movement will occur during the summer of 2026. And it looks like that it's going to be a bit of a tug of war between you and Liverpool. What you guys, if you get this guy, what you're getting is someone who is already Premier League made. I think he's going to be, especially if Mikel Arteta knows how to get the best out of him, I think he's going to be a bigger upgrade on what you got right now on the left, which is Trossard and Martinelli.
Well,
I think that...
Let's dig into that in a second. Go on, I'll let you finish your thought.
Yeah, and just to say, I think because of his defensive work rate and his intensity without the ball, I think that this is a key trait and a key attribute which Mikel Arteta looks for when he makes signings. He's also extremely versatile. He can play on both wings. He can even play as the 9. I think his value at the moment is only 52 million, but I'm very sure Newcastle, as you say, will command and demand a lot higher wage. I think between 75 all the way up to even 100 million pounds. But I think that if a manager knows how to get the best out of this type of player, he can be a huge upgrade on you. It sounds to me like you don't agree, and I'd like to know why.
All right, well, let's go through it. I mean, look, we can talk about previous seasons and whatever else, right? And he's got a big engine on him. He tracks back. He can be, he can track back and do the defensive work that obviously Arteta asks of pretty much every single Arsenal player. Martinelli does the same, by the way, in terms of defensive duties. He's up and down like a little road runner. I called him a cross-country runner because he does that legwork, does that donkey work, tracks back. I mean, I'm not a massive XG merchant, Mark, but 4.5 in the Premier League, and he scored 2. And Newcastle are commanding an 85 mil price tag on him, and whatever you can say, it ranges anywhere from 50 upwards. But Arsenal being linked to him now, whatever I think of Anthony Gordon, fine. I think he's a good player. I think he's having a poor season. I'm not just going to go on stats. If I watch him, eye test wise, I just don't think, even though he probably drives into the box more than Martinelli, but I mean, Madueke drives into the box more than Martinelli. It doesn't mean the output is any higher, right? And you
Facts.
can see that with Anthony Gordon, his output isn't that high. My question really is, let's have a look at Arsenal's season so far. You've got Trossard out on the left. You've got Martinelli out on the left. Martinelli has 10 goals this season for us and only one in the Premier League, mind. But he's scored a lot in the Champions League. Anthony Gordon, again, similar, right? 2 in the Premier League. He's scored more in the Champions League. Trossard has scored 5 or 6 Premier League goals and he comes up with big goals. And then you've got options out there, whether you want to play Eze out there, who doesn't really work out there, or if you want to play Madueke out there. Does Anthony Gordon improve this record? Let me ask you, Mark. 34 games played in all competitions this season, 27 wins, 5 draws, 2 losses. Does Anthony Gordon improve that record, keep it the same, or make it worse for Arsenal Football Club?
Playing in a better team, no matter what, no matter how good Newcastle are at the moment, or they're quite inconsistent, but they're still up there. He's going to be moving. If he moves, he'll be moving to a better team, right? With better players, you're going to have more control of the game. You're going to have more ball possession. This will only work in his benefit. It'll probably allow him to track back a little bit less and attack a little bit more.
But in the attacking sense, when we talk about, okay, I agree with that. He's playing for a better side in Arsenal if he comes to us. He's XG then, 4.5 versus 2. If he gets the chances at Arsenal, you remember, the Agent of Chaos, yeah? The original, Darwin Núñez. Made some great runs, got into the box, scored some big goals for Liverpool, actually. But overall, you and I both know him as a clown, right? He was an absolute joke. And he had tons of chances. So if Anthony Gordon gets more chances, do I want them to fall to him if he's not going to be clinical? Look, I don't know if this guy moves the needle. Do you remember me saying to you, before we move on, do you remember me saying to you about Semenyo? Go get Semenyo because I think he moves the needle. I don't think Anthony Gordon offers enough to Arsenal to justify spending 50, 60, 70, maybe even 80 mil when we can invest it elsewhere. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't think he changes much for us. I'm happy if I've got Trossard out there. I'm happy if I've got Anthony Gordon out there. I'm not happy if Martinelli's starting a Premier League game, but I'm happy if it's a cup game. He's not a needle mover, Mark, is he? Am I missing something?
In my opinion, when you said that about Semenyo, I didn't say he's a needle mover. I said he's a needle pusher. He can tip the scales.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, and I
You're
said,
agreeing, yeah.
He's more than that. I said he pushes the needle, and I still think that for Arsenal, if you get Anthony Gordon, he will be a needle pusher. Let me ask you this, yeah. Mikel Arteta is a manager, and he's also a coach, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so his job as a coach is to improve players. Do you think that if Anthony Gordon moves to Arsenal, that your manager, who you claim is so fantastic and he's the Messiah and he's the chosen one and he's so great and he makes all these players better, do you think that he will be able to make Anthony Gordon a better player?
Well, proof's in the pudding, right? To your question, yes, I think he would. Why? David Ray's a better keeper. Gabriel, go through our whole back line. Timber, Gabriel, they're all better under Arteta.
Okay,
Rice.
You've just proved my point. So how do you know, that if Anthony Gordon goes there, Mikel Arteta works his little magic and improves him massively? Because look at Anthony Gordon's stats, my friend. Yeah, maybe this season is a one-off. Odegaard had a dead season last season. Doesn't mean you're going to judge him and go, he's finished. He's not that impressive. Okay, he didn't have the best season last season. Okay, there was context. He got injured, etc. This could be an anomaly season, and the Newcastle's very inconsistent this season. In fact, a lot of the teams are so inconsistent at this season, as everybody knows. It's one of the worst seasons, in my opinion, when no one's really on the ball. But the whole question, going back to it, is: do you think Mikel Arteta can make him a better player? Because his first 2 seasons at Newcastle, he's got a GA of over 20. And
I've already
under Mikel
answered
Arteta, okay.
I've already answered that. Arteta will make him a better player, but you can call it a one-off season. Let me throw a stat at you, yeah, before we move on. Very, very quickly, Mark. We have already this season, 22, 23, 22 games into this Premier League season, have eclipsed the total number of nil-nil results than the whole of last season. Now, you could call it a one-off season, or we could look at this and actually, unfortunately, if this is the case, could be a blueprint for how teams have figured out how to set up against opposition, because it's not a surprise Arsenal going to Nottingham Forest and drawing 0-0. No one's like, oh my God, what a massive shock. Forest 16th, 17th, wherever they are. My point being, Mark, is I hope it's not. I hope it is a one-off season. But if it's not, and the game has changed because lower level teams have figured out how to frustrate and play against bigger teams. They have money throughout the league now. And I'm not saying that, City won't bounce back next season, Arsenal won't bounce back next season, be better, Liverpool won't be better next season. But if that is the case, then maybe Anthony Gordon improves a little bit. But is it worth the 80 million price tag for that minimal improvement?
I guess that's the main question. Yeah, I guess that's the main question.
Yeah. Exactly, Mark. That is the main question. Guys, let us know in the comments and we will respond to every single one of them. By the way, if you haven't, please make sure you like and subscribe. We are talking very quickly about Ethan Nwaneri. Marky Mark, he is linked. He's been linked to a few teams already, Bournemouth in particular within the Premier League, and then a couple of others. But now there seems a real strong possibility that he goes out on loan to Marseille to work with Roberto De Zerbi. Thoughts?
I think if I'm in Ethan's shoes, I'll definitely make that move. He's not getting the minutes under Arteta for whatever reason. I think the main reason is he doesn't track back, and a lot of the first team players are back now. He's looked at our squad player, and whenever I do see him over the last few years when he bursts onto the scene, he has scored some unbelievable goals, some unreal goals. And as the 10, as a winger, he's so young. I think he has a huge amount of potential. And I don't think you can let that waste away sitting at the bench, not playing any competitive games in the Premier League or under Arsenal. And I think that the fair thing to do is not to sell him, because I think that the worst thing, you don't want to have a Cole Palmer situation where, you let him go and he becomes like a world beater. That could happen. I do think Nwaneri has enough potential to be a world beater. I think he is that good. I think that he needs some minutes and he needs to work under a manager that's going to give him the time, not just get on the pitch, but the time to really spend time on nurturing him, on maturing him, making him a better player, giving him the confidence he needs. And it could be the best thing for both parties, for Arsenal and for Ethan Nwaneri at the end of the season when he comes back, because it's just a loan. He comes back. There's a high chance that he can come back a new player, an upgraded player, a more mature player. So I think that it works out best for both. It'll be a bit of a risk just to sell him straight on. And next year and the year after, he starts coming good. He starts putting on world-class displays. He already, in my opinion, from what I've seen of him, the glimpses, he has had some world-class displays, some world-class goals. But I think it's a good decision for both parties. Yeah.
I agree with everything that you said. Quick one before we wrap up on him, yeah? You made the point. He could improve. He could become a better player, working under a good coach, as we both seen what De Zerbi can do over here in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Do you know there's a couple of players out there, I'm pretty sure, well, firstly, I know Aubameyang is out there. He plays for Marseille. Isn't Greenwood also at Marseille? Mason Greenwood. Okay.
Yep.
Now, you're Ethan Nwaneri. Let's say we believe the narrative that, he has to go out on loan. He's not getting minutes because he doesn't track back. He's not got that Arteta demand that, you have to track back, and he hasn't quite shown that trait. If that is the case, and that is true, and I'm not saying it is, Mark, although the eye test, I think you'll agree with me, we have seen Nwaneri at times kind of just walking around, trudging along, and it could just be it could be an Özil illusion. Mesut Özil was seen as a very lazy player, but actually he did used to cover a lot of ground. It's just the demeanour that he had. So put that to one side. Let's just say he doesn't quite fit the Arteta mould right now in terms of defensive duties. Is it risky for him to go to Marseille, where there are influential players like Mason Greenwood and, more importantly, a former Arsenal player, Aubameyang, who left under a cloud under our current manager Arteta?
I don't think so. I think that firstly, what I thought you were going to say is, do you reckon? I actually thought you were going to say, do you reckon that Mason Greenwood and Ethan Nwaneri would come to arms? Because obviously, I think that if you remember, before he moved down to Marseille, and Mason Greenwood, he was playing in Spain. I can't remember the team. I think it was Real Betis. All was a team like that, and he played against Jude Bellingham when they played Madrid, and Jude Bellingham used to wind him up, going, you're an rapist, you're shit, you're all of this sort of stuff, winding up, taking the piss, making him uncomfortable, making his mind cloudy and unfocused. Because, Jude Bellingham is fantastic at the dark art. And that's what I initially thought. Do you reckon he's going to mess around with Ethan Nwaneri? Do you reckon Ethan Nwaneri is going to go around and, I don't want, why are you playing here? You're this, you're that. That's initially what I thought you were going to say. Maybe. But I don't think that the fact that Mason Greenwood and Aubameyang are there. I mean, Nwaneri's been at Arsenal for a few years now. Yeah, he already knows. I think he's been there so long that sort of unnecessary influence is not going to budge him, or it shouldn't, unless he's weak mentally. But I don't think that's gonna affect him. I mean, it could do. I don't really know. I don't know the kid from Atom, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think Ethan Nwaneri's main goal should be to go there, give maximum effort, learn as much as you can, try and get as much minutes under your belt, because that is the one true way of improving yourself, is by getting minutes at a professional level.
I agree with you. And look, let's wrap this up. Before I do, just one thing to note, Arsenal fans, we have got previous on the other side of it. If you're worried about Aubameyang and, Greenwood and potential altercations, the other side of it is, when Arteta came through, we had William Saliba. We were thinking about, well, do we sell him? What happens? Is he going to cut it? Whatever. We sent him out to loan. Sent him out on loan. Where? Marseille. He came back, an absolute world beater, hasn't looked back. So we have got previous, and De Zerbi is a good coach. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments. As I said before, if you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. It really helps us push our message out as far and wide as possible. And of course, only like it if you like the content. Marky Mark, bring it home.
Yeah, very simple. Thanks so much for watching. Click this video right here for our next piece of news update. We'll see you lot in there. Thanks for watching.